Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. I am so excited for today's video because we're going to be testing out the new Patrick Ta blushes that he released for the springtime, and they are so beautiful. They're supposed to be less pigmented than some of his other blushes that he has out, which I'm all for that because I love a very soft pigmented blush, and I definitely feel like I can already spot a favorite. This one will probably end up, I have not tried this one yet as I'm filming my intro, but for some reason, I just see this one being a favorite. This is the shade Not Too Much, Just Enough, and She's the Moment. I'm going to be doing swatches of all of these blushes, as well as comparing these shades to the blush shades that I have in his holiday palette. So I just want to see them all swatched out together, see how they compare. And I will be doing, of course, applications with these, trying each of the 3 shades. So if all that sounds interesting, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do swatches on my arm of all 3 of these shades, and then I am going to compare it to his blush palettes, the palettes he's released during the holiday. I want to compare all these shades to these 3 and just see, you know, because if you have some of these other blush palettes, then you might not want these shades. You might think, well, some are too similar to the other, and you might just want to pass on them. So I thought it would be a good idea to swatch these palettes next to them. These are the only ones I have. I don't have any more of his singles. These are the only 3. So this is all I have to swatch in comparison. So we're just going to start with the shade Not Too Much. Then we have Just Enough. And then we have She's the Moment. Let me swatch She's the Moment again because I kind of messed up that swatch. Okay, I had to swatch She's the Moment again because I messed up the first one. I accidentally mixed the powder in with the cream. But here you have all 3 shades compared to each other. So pretty. So the first blush palette we're going to compare this to is this one right here. This was the first palette that he had. We have She's a Doll, She's Vibrant, and She's Baked. Okay, there are the 3 new shades right here, and then these are the shades from the first holiday blush palette he released. Okay, then we had his second holiday palette. We have Giving Flirty and Giving Sun-Kissed. And then, of course, we had a highlighter over here. I know a lot of people didn't like this palette, but I personally really loved it. I think it's because this one had a lot less pigment than his others, but for me, that is definitely right up my alley. So I'm going to swatch these 2 in comparison. Okay, then here are the new blushes in comparison to the second holiday palette he released. Then, of course, we have last year's holiday palette, but this one had the 4 little sparkly topper shades in it. We have Giving I Need Her and Giving Main Character. And then here are the new ones compared to last year's holiday blush palette. I have you zoomed in a little bit more here, and the first one we're going to go in with is the shade She's the Moment, which is this really beautiful peachy orange shade, and I thought it would look really nicely with the eyeshadow that I'm wearing today. And speaking of, the eyeshadow palette I'm wearing is the Mini Starlet palette from Natasha Denona. I just love like these more warm tone shades in this palette. Thought that would be really pretty with this blush. And then for my lipstick, I am wearing the Rare Beauty matte lipstick in the shade Creative. Just nice little warm options. So I'm going to start with this blush. Now I know that Patrick Ta does the powder first and then add the cream on top. So I guess I will use his method. Usually for me, I apply a cream first and then put the powder on top, but I'm going to do the opposite and try it his way. Okay, so I'm just going to take this blush brush. This is from Betsey Johnson. Unfortunately, you can't get this brush anymore, but any blush brush will do. I'm just going to take a small amount of this. I know that apparently these are supposed to be less pigmented than some of his other ones, or at least I think the other 2 shades are, but I still want to be careful because his blushes can be really pigmented. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to go in with a little bit more. Yeah, it's definitely a lot softer than his other blushes, which his other blushes are so nice. I have all 3 of his holiday palettes. I don't have any of the individual singles. These are my first ones like that, but I have his palettes and they are so pigmented. They're so beautiful. But for me that likes less pigmented blushes, these were right up my alley. That's one of the reasons why I decided to purchase them. Alright, I went in a little bit more bolder over here, dipped in 3 times just to get some of that pigment. I was only going to pick up one shade, but I'm glad now that I picked up all of them because they're just that stunning. This brush is a little bit more on the fluffier side, but I'm going to try to use it in the cream. Oh my, the cream is a lot more pigmented than the powder. Ooh, oh no. Still really beautiful. I'm just going to take my sponge and pat over that just to kind of tone it down some. It's very lovely, but I just like a softer pigment. We can see with just the powder and then with both. Only dipped in just a little bit this time, so now that I know, the cream is still a little bit more pigmented than the powder. That is so stunning. Now I can't wait to, this is the first one that I'm trying from these, so I cannot wait to use the other 2 shades, especially the shade Not Too Much. That's more of a neutral, like a nude blush. I cannot wait to put that one on, but this one is really lovely. Perfect for like the spring and the summertime, just that really pretty warmth. I love that one so much. We are on day 2 here, and the blush I'm going in with this time is the shade Not Too Much, which I already know. I feel like this one is going to be my favorite, probably the one that I reach for the most out of all 3 of these. It's so beautiful. Such a beautiful neutral nude blush. But before I apply that, I just want to quickly talk about what is on my face. For my eyeshadow, I am wearing this ColourPop shadow stick. This one is in the shade Give Me a Sign. This is a matte shadow stick from them. And then I'm using the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I just took the shade Fair and blended this shade out. And then I took the shade Sheer and just lightly scattered some of that shimmer over the top. Nothing too much. And for my lips, I'm wearing the Give Beauty, this is the Anaheim Shine lipstick in the shade Stomp Box. And then right in the very center, I'm wearing this from NYX. This is their Slim Lip Pencil in the shade Pale Pink. Okay, I'm going back in with that Betsey Johnson brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of the powder. I like doing the powder first. This is the way Patrick Ta applies his products. He does the powder and then the cream on top. And build it up a little bit more. These have a lot less pigment. At least the powders do. I noticed when I used that shade yesterday, the cream really packed more of a punch. So I don't know how the cream might be in this one. I have swatched it, but like actually applying it on your cheek. Oh, that shade is everything. I was right. I haven't tried the shade Just Enough yet, but this shade is everything. I could see myself using this shade every single day and being happy about it. So now we're going to take the cream side and I'm just going to dip into that only a little bit because I don't want it to be too much. Of course, the name of this blush is Not Too Much, so that's the most perfect name he could have given these blushes, or this blush I should say. His blushes really are incredible. I could totally see someone like having all of the shades of his blushes and then not having any other blush in their collection because they're that good, and you have the creams and the powder right there in one, so you can apply them both or apply one or the other. So I like that you have that option. So beautiful. I can go ahead and probably say, yeah, this is definitely going to be my favorite of the 3 because this is just a beautiful, perfect, everyday type of blush. So here's this one. So tomorrow I will come back and we'll do the 3rd one. It is day 3 and I'm going to be using the blush shade in Just Enough, which is this really beautiful, cool tone pink. But first, just right quick, what's on my eyes? I'm wearing the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I just take the shade Fair and the shade Mesh and just mix them together and just kind of just press that all over the eyes. That's all I'm wearing there. And then for my lips, I'm wearing the NYX Slim Lip Pencil in the shade Pale Pink, the Give Beauty Anaheim Shine lipstick in Stomp Box, and the Lights Lacquer Jelly Bomb Lip Lacquer in the shade Alyssa. I'm just going to take my Betsey Johnson blush brush. Let's start applying the powder first. That is such a beautiful shade. I know he has another one that's similar to this type of cool tone pink, but I believe the other one is a lot more intense, or it's more of like a Barbie pink maybe. I went in a little too much on this side. I'll take my sponge in just a second and go over that a little bit just to take down that pigment, because I am going over it with the cream. And the creams I feel like, are a lot more pigmented than the actual powders. Okay, just using that same brush, I'm just going to dip a few times into the cream and pat that over the top. I did not pick up too much because the creams are even more intense than the powders. So it's just really enough to kind of give me back that glow. Of course, my skin was already glowy because all I'm wearing on my skin is a tinted sunscreen, the e.l.f. Whoa Glow, so I'm already kind of glowy. Also, that sunscreen kind of gives me a slight tan. It's maybe just a little bit, like maybe one shade too dark for my skin, so it does give me kind of like, almost like I have a little bit of sun. Okay, I can now say that I have tried all 3 of his blush shades, his new blushes for spring. All 3 of them are absolutely beautiful. I don't think you could go wrong with any of the shades if you were looking at them. However, of course, my favorite is Not Too Much. This is just beautiful. This is what I look for in a blush. This is just everything to me. This would be my definite favorite. If I could only have one, this is the one that I would pick for myself. I just think it's so beautiful. Just beautiful for everyday, perfect, like just a stunning nude blush. It's everything. Then I think that the next shade I would pick would be Just Enough. I do think this is such a pretty, really soft bubblegum pink, like just a really more delicate. Of course, you can definitely build up the pigment to get a lot more if you want to, but I think this would probably be my second choice. This is equally just as beautiful. And the third one, She's the Moment. I do think this is absolutely stunning. This will be beautiful for the summertime, but this would be my third pick simply because of the tone. I'm not really a big orangey blush wear, but I think that this does have enough peach in it to where it does look a little more, I hate to say natural, but you know what I mean when I say that, on the cheeks. But this is the most intense to me. I feel like, the most bold of the colors, but I still think it's beautiful. But this would probably be my least favorite, if you call it that, which I like all 3 of them. So really, saying least favorite is definitely not a good word choice to have, but all of them are beautiful. But I'm so happy that I got a chance to try them out. And I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. And please make sure to follow me over on Instagram at Jessica Dearly, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!